Good afternoon, everyone. Nice meeting you all. My pleasure hosting you on my panel today. I'm Lahav on behalf of AllCloud and the team around me. I welcome you to it's a mixture of a webinar and a panel we are having today, discussing how to minimize disruptions and ensuring business continuity during this time that the whole world health is under changes and really challenges that the whole economy is going through. As stakeholder and as key players in the cloud market, we want to share with you how we observe the situation, how we see the reaction in the market, and today we'll walk you through a couple of directions that were released by McKinsey and how we translated them for ourselves and for our customers, how to minimize disruption at these times, as well as how we see the return path and the growth path following the situation. With me on the panel today, two great colleagues. Both of them are leaders at AllCloud. Both are leading different AWS practices. Uli Bauer, speaking to us from Munich. Hi, Uli.
Hi, Lahav.
Would you introduce yourself?
Of course, thank you. I will do. Yeah, I'm Uli Bauer, based here in Munich. I'm since 11 years within the cloud business, especially in the German market and in the DACH region. And yeah, based here in Munich, and happy to be with you today.
Thank you. Eric Crump, speaking to us from Atlanta. Hi, Eric, would you introduce yourself?
Of course, Lahav. Thanks so much. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. First, wanted to personally thank everybody for joining today. My responsibility here at AllCloud is I'm responsible for our AWS business in North America. I've had the pleasure to work in the AWS ecosystem for 6+ years. And really my career has been focused around technology, transformation, and innovation, and I've been lucky to work with some of the best and most well-known and respected brands in the world. A couple examples would be Caterpillar, Delta, Starbucks. So just really excited to talk about the topic today. We are all challenged right now. We are all managing through challenging times. And I think it's great to get, our heads together, talk about how we're doing this, how we're dealing with it, and how we're leveraging the enterprise cloud specifically to assist through these times. So excited to get into it.
Thank you, Eric. A couple of words about myself. I'm Lahav Savir. I'm the EVP and Chief Architect for the cloud platforms at AllCloud. My responsibility is to look after the AWS practice at AllCloud. As I said, I'm the first employee of the company. I started it back in 2008. Let's jump into today's topics. In a nutshell, for those of you who are not familiar with AllCloud, we're a company as a 250+ employees. We're holding multiple AWS competencies. This is our core focus, aside from our Salesforce business. And we operate out of 7 different global locations, starting headquarters in Tel Aviv, where I'm based, all the way through Bucharest, Germany, Munich, and Berlin, New York, San Francisco, and Toronto. And that's who we are in a nutshell. What we want to talk to you today is around the impact to the global ecosystem by this COVID-19 situation. We see, very quick transitions, very fast-moving changes these days. On one hand, we see the whole global economy and the ecosystem and the stock market going severely down, impacted by people locked at home, businesses are closed, people are not traveling. There are severe conditions happening in different areas. And we have to react to it, we have to respond to it quickly, and we still have to set our ways and maintain the business. Well, on the other side, I mean, actually, this picture caught my eyes around the air pollution in the world. Just a couple of examples, you know, how the air pollution has reduced dramatically since these situations came in. So there are two sides of situations. I'm not trying to suggest it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying there is something we should all, as you know, people living on this planet, learn from, how to react to the situation, as well as what can we learn from it, and what could be the takeaways. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows how we're going to end the situation and what's going to lead us to. But definitely, there are lots of things to think of being in this situation. And this is what I want to talk to you today, how we see the situation, how can we hopefully leverage what we have and take it forward to the rest to the follow-up of the situation. A key observation we are seeing now becoming popular is around CIOs and IT leaders trying to envision how could they work better using the cloud. And what we're seeing, you know, really is a shift to moving more workloads into the cloud, to leverage the elasticity, to leverage the flexibility, to be able to bring up new applications, to innovate faster, to try things faster. And this is where we live. That's where we help our customers basically to live in these days. What we want to focus on today is the 5 horizons released by McKinsey research a couple of weeks ago. And they keep on updating them. They define 5 key horizons that organizations should go through in order to enter the situation, deal with the immediate reactions, build the resiliency to maintain the business, set a return path to the normal, or what could be the new normal at the time. Then think of a reimagination. How should they reimagine the business once we go out of the situation? And a reform is a really a path to innovation. And today we will have some questions here to the panel, how they see the situation and how they react to these changes in the economy. So I want to point the questions to my colleagues. So to you, Eric, what are some of the business challenges you are seeing business are facing during this crisis?
Yeah, so depending on different industries, obviously, there are several challenges that we're all dealing with, right? And the rate of change and the rate of impact was so sudden, it's put such a larger burden on all of us to operate our businesses and make rapid change. But one area, probably a little bit more obvious, is just the rapid displacement of workforces, right? So, us as technology workers, we're very used to working remotely. We're very used to working virtually. But in other industries, they have worked very closely together, a few feet apart for years and years and even decades. They're not used to, have not embraced really remote working. So the sudden displacement of this workforce has put a large strain on various industries. And an example of that would be, I was talking recently with an insurance company where there were dozens and dozens of claims agents having to pay claims, and they had worked together, and their business and their people and their processes were all designed that way. So they had to show up one Saturday. They all had to get laptops handed out. They all had to get hotspots handed out to very rapidly attempt to work remotely. So, if you think about that from an enterprise cloud perspective, there's different and new ways to really solution the problem, right? You can look to next gen, virtual desktop interfaces, VDIs, for example, AWS workspaces, where literally in minutes you can have a desktop available. So it is really forcing us to think differently. And this problem of a mass displacement of the workforce is really, really showing how difficult it can be in the times that we're managing through. So that's one large example, Lahav.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eric. Uli, how are you? What are you seeing in the German market?
Yeah, so we see as well the one or the other logistic chain breaking up, right? So in this global environment, everybody is connected, everybody is working together, not over the globe, right? So how to get your material in time, that is pretty difficult, and that's why you have to use different ways of sourcing. The question, of course, more local instead of global, but that brings up all the discussion about do I need local warehouses then as well, and additionally costs, and what is the answer of just in time and just in sequence? We know from the automotive, for instance, which is a very big industry here in Germany, and that is one of the super big questions we are facing in these days, right? And of course, if you bring it to a little bit smaller business, online business versus traditional store business, right? With all the regulations, with all the changes we are facing in the last weeks, it is pretty obvious that you have to buy more online, that you have to focus more on online business stores. You have to prepare your business on an online environment because people and each of us, right, is changing his behavior during these days in doing nearly everything online, and that means you have to set up your infrastructure accordingly. And as well, supporting your customers, right, with call centers and so on and so forth, which are maybe still missing at the one or the other company, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would add to that what I could see from where I am in the Israeli market, I definitely saw a need for immediate access to infrastructure that for some kinds it did not exist. We have the digital customers who have the access to the cloud. I think they're relatively benefit from it. They could pivot quickly into new work that they needed. But I was more focused over the past few weeks with customers who do not have the access to the cloud, who are not yet onboarded. We have seen that with bringing up virtual desktops, bringing up call centers, and what we're seeing especially is the need for an immediate resolution. Customer needed the solution right away, and I'm happy to share that we're really happy to provide it to them and really help them to resolve their needs almost in nearly real time or no time, and bringing up the needs right away using the cloud technologies. So now we talked about the challenges. What are the innovations and what are the innovative ways you're seeing that the cloud addresses these business challenges from your ends? Eric, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I can jump in on that, Lahav. So, before the onset of COVID-19 and the pandemic that's forced this rapid business change, the introduction of enterprise cloud was really changing the mindset of buying, owning, and leveraging IT resources, right? So, in essence, the cloud and the enterprise cloud has started to collapse the IT supply chain, right? It's not buying a piece of hardware and the software and components of that IT and that IT resource. It's more collapsing into a service that you can buy and you expect a certain level, of service and continuity to those technology resources, right? And COVID-19 is really enhancing that and putting a light on that almost indirectly because it has forced us to change rapidly, right? And at the core, the ability and the elasticity of the cloud is enabling businesses that have implemented it more to adjust rapidly, right? I mean, ultimately, wouldn't it be nice if at this period in time, all you really had to focus on was your employees, your customers, right? And not necessarily your IT resources, those IT resources were going to scale with your business. So I think that is one of the major innovative ways, obviously, where the cloud is able to make cloud-first companies and cloud-first thinking companies much more agile.
Yeah, thank you. Uli, how about you?
Yeah, so for sure, for all companies using already cloud platforms, right? For them, it's pretty easy to scale automatically, or at least within a couple of minutes. For those have to reduce their business to down scale, right? And for those who are benefiting in the end as well from these days to upscale their business, and that is super important in the end to have your cost under control, right? To pay what you really need, and to help as well your cash flow in the end as well, right? And the second thing is for all these companies, right? Maybe not fully in the cloud or on a cloud platform. It is, of course, super important to keep the light on as well for smaller companies, sending home people to the home office, giving them an access to an remote desktop, right, without bypassing security policies of your company in the end, right? And that is pretty important, I would say, for the employees, for the company itself, right? To really be able to work from everywhere you have to, right? If it's home office or in the office, it doesn't matter. But you have, of course, be aware of your security policies, right? And stay the data there where it has to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep the data there.
I think some of the innovative ideas I've seen over the past few weeks happening is company launching new applications in a matter of days, in a matter of nearly hours, and launching to a very large community. And what I see very clear by having access to these cloud technologies, they're really able to achieve this, fast time to market and to survive even very heavy loads deploying these applications. And of course, we are seeing all these activities happening around the medical research, the health research around the coronavirus. And we know that Amazon and other cloud providers also provide access to really large, intensive resources in order to accelerate those researches. So I think altogether, we're definitely seeing a great innovation happening under this critical situation, leveraging the cloud. So I think definitely there's something that we feel we assist the situation with, trying to resolve it. Jumping to the second horizon that the research is talking about is around the resilience. So customers have provided immediate action, immediate resolution, just to keep the lights on. But now they'll need to focus on a little longer term activities, which will empower and ensure that the organization can really live under this severe situation and maintain the business, keep a connection with the customers, maintain the people, and even keep their cash. So there are different ways that customers were reacting to strengthen their foundations, and this is under what they call the resiliency phase, that organizations have to keep their powers internally, but still maintain a healthy business as much as they could. So to you, Uli, first, how do you see organizations preparing themselves to be resilient, not only for a potential second wave, which could happen, hope it won't, but also for any disaster and crisis that may arise in the future? Are they building something that could potentially serve them, not just for now, but it's a semi-lesson learned for the future?
Yes, for sure. So I would say it's quite obvious, right, that each company is pushing their cloud strategy, right? It's becoming more and more important, as we see in the last couple of weeks, right, to be flexible. And what we see as well, or what makes sense as well, is of course to reduce the time to migrate to the cloud. So bring it really to the top of the priorities within your organization, right? So most of the cloud and IT departments of our customers, right, are working with full power, with full load to realize their projects, especially during these days, right? So that's what I see at the moment.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, this is a really tough time right now for everyone for a lot of reasons, but one being, you know, in that resolve phase where you're firefighting, right? We're just starting to get into this resilience phase. And, you know, what I'm seeing is that ultimately where that's putting a lot of pressure, right? And really putting areas of focus is around the cloud ops teams. How well do they have their cloud cost governance models in place? How are they tracking, reporting, and also how are they, logging, alerting on that, right? So if your cost governance policies, procedures were not as mature, that is going to be a large refocusing effort, you know, currently in the next few weeks, right? Is if you don't have visibility, and if you don't have a strong insight into those costs and how it's being leveraged and where efficiencies can be gained, you know, that cost governance area is going to be one that's going to be a large focus kind of going into the resilience phase. Because if there is a resurgence, then, you know, you'll have to rapidly be able to continually look at your environments and optimize those.
Yeah, definitely. I think the ability to reduce the cloud cost and keep the cash and not waste it when it's absolutely not necessary is a key activity we're seeing customers are driving. And by changing their minds into being more aggressive on cost reduction, I think this is something that I believe will stay here. Companies will have a bit of, you know, more mature view into what cost reduction is and how they can stress down their environments and to be more optimized. I believe this is something going to stay with us for long. It doesn't necessarily for the second wave, but it's for being, you know, more optimized. I think this is something going to definitely stay with us for a while.
Yeah.
And just Eric, I'll stay with you. How do you think that the cloud can drive resilience faster than in other situations, in other environments?
Yeah. By the nature of the elasticity of the cloud, right, it enables us to be much more resilient, much more agile just by nature, right? So there are several tactical things that people can look at today, right? So look quickly into your environment and really understand, are there things you can shut down today? While it seems very simple, you know, to have get a comprehensive view, shut down things you can shut down today. You know, another tactical area you can look at from resilience perspective is if you're buying truly on demand in the cloud right now, or more predominantly on demand, look to things like reserve instances, right? Short to medium reserve instances that can cause an immediate impact and also drive lower costs here in the short and medium term. And then look to a partner, a global audited MSP partner like AllCloud that has a FinOps as a service or financial operations as a service that really truly are experts and trusted advisors around how do you manage this cost governance? How do you manage optimization? That's an area by teaming quickly with a partner like AllCloud, you can make, you know, short-term impact, medium-term, and start to even build. You know, you can start the solution. You can start to do things that you didn't anticipate you could do for the future.
Yeah. So for me, it is flexibility, right? It is really be flexible and creative as well. We see a lot of creativity in these days, right? And that is super important to expand to new markets, to to understand the business of tomorrow as well. So increase online activities, online stores and offers, right? So that is the one thing. And the other thing is focus, right? Focus on your core competencies and your business, right? That's it.
Thank you. So now that we touched, the immediate resolution and the resiliency, I mean, I know we're not there yet at the return path to the normal business, or as we envision it is more on, it feels more like the new normal that is waiting for us, when this situation is ending. I want to talk about how organizations and how we believe organizations should get ready for the return, and what is it waiting for us when this is over. I mean, none of us, I think, knows, now can predict where is the end, whether it's a month from here, is it 3 months from here, maybe it's 6 months from here. We don't know yet. We don't know how it's going to look. But I mean, what do you guys want to discuss is how do you see the return path from the situation, and what our companies should do in order to get ready for the meaning of the return, and what does it mean for a company now in these difficult situations to think already about the next step, about how will it look when this situation is over. I'll start with you, Uli.
Sure. So for me, how longer this crisis will take, the bigger the changes in how we live and do business will change as well, right? So all this acceptance of remote video, what we are doing here as well, meetings, is massively growing and interlocks or goes in line with more environmental conscious behavior, for example, carbon reduction, right? So that is pretty cool.
Eric, any interesting topic? Anything mentioned about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's almost hard. The firefighting we're doing now makes it almost hard to focus on what we think about return is going to be. I mean, I think we all know that this is, basically a generational defining moment, right, across the globe. And that, the base definition of return is really to go back to where you were, right? I guess I would challenge, and I think we're all going to challenge ourselves to kind of redefine what we're returning to and what return really means, right? I mean, the enterprise cloud, at the core, it's elastic. And now's the time for reflection. Look at your business, determine what is failing, right? Be very honest, upfront, and reflective of what is failing, what is not able to adjust with the times rapidly enough. Then prioritize those things and redefine what return really looks like, right? And that prioritize those items so that when you can focus on that after you start to evolve out of this and make sure that those parts of your business can operate and adjust as rapidly as any other part. And the cloud, I think, has a big part of the supporting technology systems to do that.
Yeah, definitely. As I see, the return is, the first question is, what are we returning to? And I have strong belief that we are going to return to a new situation, a slightly different world. People will treat everything differently, starting from consumption to nature, but back into the technology. Definitely, I think the flexibility is a key thing that companies would want to return to, and the access to these immediately available technologies, like we were able to provide for the cloud over the past few weeks. And I think this is a big thing to take with us to return, is this agility that has been helping. I mean, companies even like us and like our customers were able to pivot quickly and to adapt themselves to the new situation. And this is, I think, a big takeaway I would take into the return path of every company. So now that we are seeing what is waiting for us, on the return path, then we talk about the reimagination. How do we trying to get ready and to think out of the box, to do something different that we haven't done before. Maybe invest in a few people to look into the company's data, the data assets, try to bring a new product for the new normal is coming there. So the question to you is, especially these days that organizations are so rooted to the resolve and resilience activities, what do you see is, what should they do to start considering the reimagination as well, especially under these uncomfortable situations? What would you do, Eric?
Yeah, I think, you know, especially where we're at in this crisis, I think it's hard sometimes to think about what we'd reimagine when we emerge from this, right? I think you can honestly think about what we're all managing through kind of in two ways. You know, how do we quickly get back to normal, whatever that definition is, as we just discussed, or look at it a different way. How do we reinvent ourselves through this process? I think it's a time of self-reflection and really embracing where there may be weaknesses, right? That helps us have more clarity on the other end, so we truly can reimagine, you know, and use this as a catalyst to push our organizations forward, think creatively, think differently.
Would you think any specific activities that could potentially help? Any ideas that you have seen your customers are discussing with you, questioning you?
They're taking, you know, they're taking a really hard look at their whole portfolio of projects, right? And so as they look at the percentages that they're focusing, spending money on moving forward, they're reevaluating that, because anything that in many ways isn't customer related and helps their business scale are being deprioritized. Those are the examples I'm seeing. It's that self-reflection of what's important. What are we really focusing on to move our organization more digitally forward?
Uri, what kind of advices did you share with your customers on this getting ready for you know, the next step?
Yeah, I would use these three words, right? So never give up, right? It is really analyze now wisely why your business is impacted, right? And why you can't change or react it immediately, right? And to understand this and take the actions, right? You don't need to see a full horizon of how the future will become, right? Parts are already enough, and parts are already visible in what will change and will change forever, right? Take these points as an anchor and start transforming your business into this direction and be prepared for the future, right?
Yeah, definitely reimagination opens lots of opportunities, encourage a lot of innovation. At least I can say from our side, we try to help our customers to innovate as much as they can, leveraging the technologies, leveraging the data assets they have. So the last step is around the reform. So companies were reimagining themselves, but I think, I mean, we get lots of questions. So, I mean, how to get to this situation that they can really reform, really can reimagine our business. So at AllCloud, what I can say, we have a framework that we bring customers into the cloud journey. We start from the exploration, running some POCs, testing and getting building confidence around the cloud. Then we help them into the building proper foundations, and it's mainly around building the local capabilities within the company and establishing a cloud center of excellence, which is essentially is the core team within the company to drive the change. Then with this, we starting the migration and modernization, really embracing those new technologies, adopting DevOps culture, moving into more data lakes and data-driven decisions. And then I think they get a situation or innovation and optimization can really happen. And my message to you is, if you haven't started yet or if you're on the way, we definitely noticed that the cloud, with the rich set of tools and the flexibility it comes with, really help the situation and help those modern businesses to survive into these challenging days. Hopefully, it's the last time we're seeing it, but no one can guarantee that. But what definitely we see, having built the business on these modern platforms, really build the proper resiliency for the company to survive under these dynamic changes of the situation. I do want to thank everyone for attending the webinar, the panel. Eric, final words from you?
Yeah, Lahav, thank you. Yeah, I just want to also personally express, thank you to everyone on the calls for spending some time with us today, talking through some of the challenges we're dealing with. I mean, we know this is unprecedented time and change that we're dealing with, but, leverage it as a time to shine. I mean, it can seem overwhelming, but start to get tactical, start to carve out things that you can help innovate your business when we start to come out of this. And then ultimately, in unprecedented times, you can really maybe even drive really unprecedented change in your business. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Eric. Uli, your last word?
Thank you as well from my side. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Yeah, extreme situations have as well a lot of positive aspects, right? So things have to be changed now. Creative new ideas are coming up and will change a lot in how we are running and doing business. So stay positive, think positive. That are my final words.
Thank you. Definitely thinking positive is necessary these days. I do want to thank all the audience on this panel. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find it valuable. If you have further questions or any advice you need from us or help from the team, please reach out to us either directly to any one of us email directly or to the info mailbox as you wish. Thank you for attending. I wish all of us stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you over the next panel. Thank you.
Thanks,
Goodbye now.